Hello, welcome to domytriesthis. Pull up a chair, get your cup of tea. This cup today is with a D for Dommy. Today's tea is chocolate orange. Oh God, that's so heavenly. Like I said, welcome. Today I'm going to be doing what I hinted at yesterday and reviewing some things, starting basically kind of a new series. I'm a big sample hunter on the internet. I like trying to get free samples, and I get a lot of them. The thing is most of them will be skincare. I have found that actual makeup samples are hard to get a hold of. You can when you do things like the Sephora orders and stuff, so I will be sharing those as well. As you remember, in my last Sephora haul, I got a sample bag, and it was full of not just skincare but some makeup samples, and I always get samples with my Sephora orders anyway. So my plan is, I've had to discontinue my play box. I'm going to have to put my Lola box on hold for a little while, and my plan is to try to replace those boxes with sample reviews. And like I said, I go all over the net and I look for samples for free. And I have a number of them from December that I'm still waiting on. But today I have a bunch from that bag that I got. I have a few from a couple of other orders that I've gotten in the past. Plus I have two full-size products because, like I said, makeup samples are harder to get a hold of than skincare for some reason. Two things that I have learned about sample hunting is to make sure you read the entire page. I got a Xyloderm sample. I have mentioned this before, and 2 weeks after I got the supposed sample, they charged me $80. And it turns out at the very bottom, in teeny tiny print on the second page of the order, it is turned from a sample to a free trial, and they explicitly explain in this teeny tiny little print at the bottom that they will be charging you in 2 weeks, and then you will be automatically enrolled to get refills. So, yeah, that was not pleasant. I think that's a shady business practice. An even shadier business practice is to not put it on the page at all, but put it in your terms of use. And I've just dealt with the company about that. So, if you're going to sample hunt, my biggest advice is to read everything, including any terms of service or anything like that, to make sure you know what you're getting into, because a lot of companies out there are really shady, and this is especially true if they're charging you for shipping. Now, I have had companies that have charged me for shipping that I've not had any problems with, but the ones that I do have had problems with have given the others a bad name. So just be aware that those are those issues. I brought my phone that you cannot really see because of all the light, but it has notes on it for some of these things, and let's go ahead and get started. So the first two things I want to review are foundations, and there's a primer included with one of them. Now, I am going to be looking for a new foundation. You will note in my description box below that I used the Tarte Amazonian Clay foundation. I am not going to finish using what I have, but because of the recent issues with Tarte, I am no longer buying Tarte products. If you don't know, last year they had an Instagram post that had a racist, unnecessarily racist even. It wasn't even in reference to the product, it wasn't in reference to anything, but it was a racist remark in one of their posts. And that was disturbing. They apologized for it, they took it down. Fine, that's great. Figured we could move on from that. Hopefully they had learned, but apparently not. The Tarte Shape Tape Foundation has been a highly anticipated product, and they knew it was going to sell because their Tarte Shape Tape is big with everybody, and they in essence put out, what, 10, 15 shades for each line, and only 2 to 3 of those could even remotely be considered dark. They followed that up with an explanation of how everybody's light in the winter I'm sorry. Excuse me? I get lighter in the winter, but that doesn't make me light. And African Americans aren't going to be light. And then they followed that up with, oh, we're going to add 10 more shades. Well, it turns out it's only 5 shades, 5 for each line, which still does not address the issue. And a big company like Tarte could very easily put out 30 to 40 shades. I mean, if a smaller, brand new, just starting company can do it, they can do it. They chose not to. They've come up with excuses. They keep talking about rolling things out. I'm sorry. I'm done. I'm done. So I have to find a new foundation. So, a couple of samples I got in that Sephora thing were foundations. The first one was the Too Faced Born This Way foundation. Here's the packet it came in. If I can get this to open. Here's the little inside with the sample packs. I could not use all of these. One is really on the dark side and the other one is really light. I can't use this foundation. I didn't like this foundation, really, at least not by itself. It's a really loose consistency. One of the things that I liked about the Tarte foundation was that it was really rather thick and moussey, and I kind of like that. I don't necessarily need a foundation that's quite that thick, but I do like something better than watery. And didn't like the smell. It was a really strong, unpleasant smell. On the plus side, a little did go a long way, but it did emphasize my texture. The worst thing was, though, for me, I don't like to feel my foundation. A lot of people don't. And with the Born This Way, I actually felt it on my skin, not just by touch, which I did. And see, right now I can touch my face and I do not feel like I'm wearing foundation. With the Born This Way, I felt it, and on top of that, I actually felt it on my face for the whole time I was wearing it. And I really didn't like it. And by the end of the day, I believe this is the one that really, yeah. When I applied it, you could see the texture on my skin from close up, like in the mirror when you're putting on your makeup. Not a big problem because not everyone's going to be that close to me. But by the end of the day, 4 or 5 hours, you could see that emphasized texture from further back. So, yeah, no, not using that. The other foundation I got to try was the Fenty Beauty. And these came in really decent size. As you can see, they came in really decent size samples. I got to use it twice, I believe. And it also came with the Fenty Beauty primer. Now, I really liked the primer. The primer smoothed everything out, and it smoothed out the texture, and it felt soft and light and all that. But the foundation, I think, ruined everything that the primer did. It emphasized my texture again. When you're older, this is one of the things you watch for with a foundation. Is it going to emphasize, especially under your eye area, is it going to emphasize how much texture you have? And this really, really did. I tend to apply my foundation initially with a brush, and then I smooth out the areas where I have the most issue with a sponge. And while I could do that a little bit with the Born This Way, I couldn't get it to really smooth out even with a sponge. So again, no, unfortunately. I am going to have to keep looking. I would like to try, I had a small sample once of the Styla concealer and foundation combo, and I really liked it. And I would like to try a larger sample because the sample I got was for a one-shot deal, and you honestly can't really tell on a one-shot. So one of these days, hopefully, I will be able to get a larger version of that and be able to try it and see if it's actually something I'm going to be able to use. So another sample I have that I got from that bag was the Peter Thomas Roth Skin to Die For primer. And that's another one I got to use twice, and I actually was really surprised. This is slightly tinted. I actually generally don't like tinted moisturizers or tinted primers, and so it's always a surprise to me when a tinted one does really well. But this one is tinted, but it didn't show up on my skin as tinted, which I really liked. It smoothed everything out except directly under my eyes, which I always have a problem with, as I noted. And it made my skin silky and soft. I didn't feel really tacky. It didn't really feel like the foundation would stick to it. My concealers applied and blended out really beautifully. I was really impressed with that. But then my foundation did the same thing. So I really, really liked that. And I've actually added this to my loves list at Sephora. And I don't do that often with expensive primers and things. This is probably the second one I've done that with. Maybe the third. But I was really impressed with this. A little went a long way. It made everything nice and smooth. Like I said, my concealer blended out beautifully. My foundation stayed on all day. It really is a very nice primer. And if you can afford it, I recommend it. So, next sample is I'm kind of unhappy about. I love Urban Decay. I've loved their eyeshadows. I have one of their highlighters, I believe. Yes. I got a highlighter for my birthday from them. And I love the highlighter. However, and I love my Nagel Vice lipstick case thing. However, their glitter type lipsticks do not impress. And I got a sample of these lip toppers. They're very tiny. There are 3 of them. And I think there were 4 or 5 in the thing. And the lip toppers have the same problem for me as the actual lipsticks, in that they apply pretty. They really do. And these are dried out. This is dried out. They're that old. They're dried out. They dry out, actually. They dry very quickly. They dry down, but within 30 minutes to an hour, I guess, they start to flake. They don't just, they get really ugly. So they do something really pretty when you first put them on, but the prettiness goes away really quickly, and then it turns your lipstick into something really ugly, and you have to reapply. And even with a lipstick that you wouldn't normally have to reapply, you have to reapply because these toppers just, they ruin it. They ruin it. So I'm really disappointed, but I would not recommend their Vice. I don't know if they're called glitters but they're glittery Vice liquid lips, and I would not recommend these Vice toppers that also do a glittery shine. They both do the same thing. I had a Vice an actual liquid lip from them that was the same way, shimmery and all that, and I put it on, and within an hour it was drying and flaking, and just it looked patchy, and it went on beautifully. It just does not stay, and these do the same thing. They're terrible. My last sample is an eyeshadow sample, and it's from MAC, and it's this one right here, this dark one, and I think this is in Beauty Marked. Now, this is a beautiful color in the pan, and it swatches wonderfully. But in the pan, it's more of a purple, and I don't know if you can actually see that. It has a purple with a lot of reddish, glittery tones to it. But unfortunately, on my eyes, or even in the swatch, it comes out more gray. Now, I've noticed that a lot of purples do this, so I don't know if it's just the shade purple. I don't know if it's what those companies are doing. You know, even on my wipe, it actually comes out more purple than it did on my on my hand or on my eyes. It's very disappointing. It's a beautiful color, highly pigmented, stays put, not getting rid of it, not totally unhappy with it. I will use it. It's a great for darkening in the crease and on my edges and stuff, but it's just not the color that it shows up in here. And other MAC shadows may be closer, truer to their pan, but this one was not. Now, the two actual full-size products I have are both from NYX. And I love NYX. It's my favorite drugstore brand. But both of these had minor disappointments. And I say minor because really it's small stuff. And the first one is the NYX Primal Colors. I think you guys remember me showing you this when I opened it. And this is supposed to be hot red. Unfortunately, you can see that on there. It looks like a red. But on my skin and on my eyes, it actually comes across as more of a dark, bright pink, which is fine. Again, it's a color I'll use, and it looks patchy here, but it's not as patchy on my eyes. It's fine. I don't mind it being pink, but it's not red, and I've been really trying to find a red, and I was really hoping this would be it, and it wasn't. The other one is only disappointing in the fact that you have to use your finger or a sponge applicator to make it work, and that is the Love You So Mochi. These are gorgeous, gorgeous colors. They will not pick up on a brush. They will not apply to your eye with a brush. I tried it dry and wet, and it just doesn't work that way. And that made me very sad because honestly, personally, I don't like using my fingers for much. It's just a personal preference, and you aren't going to see some of these. And again, you're not going to see them because of my lighting here, and I apologize for that. These actually swatch okay. Obviously not amazingly. However, like I said, you absolutely are going to have to use your fingers or a brush to actually get them to apply. Here I'm putting them on my hand wet. Maybe that'll help a little bit. The colors are gorgeous. The shimmer is gorgeous. And again, you're not going to really see them because of the lighting. But they're beautiful. And once you get them to work, they do work. They're bright and pretty, but don't expect to be able to use this with a brush. You have to use your finger or you have to use a sponge applicator. Okay, so that's it for today. I'm sorry if I'm looking down a lot. I had notes and things to try to keep track of. I will work on making that better. Trying to do all the new stuff, you know. I hope you have a great rest of your day. Thank you for stopping by. If you like this video, please subscribe and click the notification bell to know when I post again. I'm hoping to make this a series. I'd love to hear your ideas on a name for the series. And you have a great day.